Excellent. Thank you so much, Macarena. Let me get my screen shared. Now be just one moment, it should be, for it to pop up for you guys. You should be able to see the Cavallo logo on sort of a blue-green background. Does that look okay?
Yes, looks perfect.
Excellent, wonderful. Again, my name is Nathan DeLong. I'm a senior sales engineer here with Cavallo. I work out of our headquarters here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And as you know, or as you may not know, Cavallo was founded about 18 years ago, primarily due to the fact that a distributor here in our city was really struggling with Dynamics GP. And as a result of their struggles, they developed a product to bring some additional functionality to Dynamics GP. And that product was called SalesPad. As you all know, Dynamics GP has a roadmap still through at least 2028, but there has been a lot of growth and a lot of focus on Dynamics 365 Business Central, especially as a result of so many folks are looking to simplify their IT landscape. They're also probably being influenced a little bit by our ongoing situation, which has caused a lot of people to need to work remotely. Dynamics 365 Business Central is an extraordinarily powerful and well-designed framework for running a business in the cloud. There are, however, some drawbacks to Dynamics 365 Business Central, or should I say, some things that could potentially be improved when it comes to a few primary areas. Those really being workflow, access to information and visibility, and just generally navigating. Those are some areas where there might be room for improvement. So at Cavallo, we have been working on a new product, which is now released, called Distribution Cloud. It is meant to work with Dynamics 365 Business Central and solve some of the pain points that our SalesPad product solved for Dynamics GP. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and drag it over onto my screen here for you guys so you can get a look at it. This is Distribution Cloud. Again, Distribution Cloud is designed to work with Dynamics 365 Business Central, and primarily its goal in life is to provide easy visibility into where transactions are within workflows that you have designed around your fulfillment processes for orders, your invoicing processes, returns, quotes as well. Also, to make it easy to access and update customer information and easy to find information about your products. Now, whenever I jump here into Distribution Cloud, I always go to this first screen. It's called Mission Control. Mission Control is designed to show me all of the workflows that I have set up and show me exactly what documents are sitting within all of those workflows, just to make it very easy for me to find things. Essentially, its job is to show me exactly where each document is sitting in my system, and also to quickly see some information about those documents too. So for example, you can see here, I'm looking at my order workflow, and I have this queue called New Order Expanded. Of course, I can see some general information about these orders, right? So information that just exists in fields. Example, the customer PO, the customer name. That's relatively static information, not really too different from something that might be entered on a spreadsheet, right? We do, however, also have some active fields. I can see in real time exactly what the margin is for each of these documents. Also, if I hover over products, I can very quickly see exactly what products are included on these orders. If I expand another queue a little bit further on in my workflow, this shipped package, I can also see for documents that have, for example, in this case, been shipped, I can hover and see the exact related document, which sometimes in Dynamics 365, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to just quickly and organically find documents which are related to other documents. And we're trying to help solve for that here. In this case, for this shipment document, if I were to click that hyperlink, it's actually going to take me to that in Business Central. And then I can, of course, review that shipment, perhaps see the tracking number that's been associated with this order 10-10-10, or edit that document as necessary. Additionally, I can always see at any time exactly how many documents are sitting within all of my workflows, as well as the total cost for those documents and the total revenue for those documents. If I click up in the top here, I can also choose, if needed, to maybe only look at a particular part of my workflow. So maybe, for example, I only want to focus on quotes. I can simply do that by clicking, and then I can go ahead and select any cues within that workflow. In this case, we have new quote and create order. I can quickly see those documents as well. Now, when we're in mission control, we can also find documents in a very fast and fluid way. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and deselect my quote workflow. I do hang out quite a bit in my order workflow. That's really where the meat of most of my transactions are, right? I'm most concerned with, once we've gotten the quote through with the customer and once they've accepted it, my orders are really critical to me. I want to very carefully track those through my fulfillment process. If I need to find a particular document, of course, I can type, in this case, the document number to go to it. So let's say, for example, here's order 10-10-10. And there it is, that one in ship package. It's also possible to search based on the customer name, the customer number, or a user who's been assigned to that particular document. If you need to do additional filtering to find a specific document, you can simply use this button here. And in this case, we can go ahead then and filter by any of these criteria that are shown here on the screen, and then use simple contains, starts with, ends with, or exact match searches to pull back particular records. So for example, I might be interested in seeing everything for a particular customer. And in this case, I have a customer called the School of Fine Art in my demo database for Dynamics 365. So of course, I can type in fine art here, click apply. And here it is sitting in order details. Again, the whole purpose of this is just to make it very quick and very simple to see precisely where a document is within any of your processes. This view also is not something that is static or set in place. You can modify this view by choosing which columns you want to view when you come into the application. Any of the views, whether you're looking at, say, a customer search, a product search, a list of items that have been sold to a particular customer, they all have this ability to modify what columns you're seeing on the screen based on what information is helpful to you. This is something that if you have multiple users within Distribution Cloud, of course, all of their customizations are unique to each of them. So just because perhaps I want to look at things in a certain way, it doesn't mean that my coworker also has to look at those things in that same way. They can have their own way of looking at their data. In this case, I might be interested in pulling in the document date field as well. And I can also, of course, just by dragging, choose exactly where on the screen that field will appear. And if I click apply, here we can see the document date arranged exactly as I had it next to the order number. So it's just a very straightforward way to see exactly where everything is sitting within my system. And of course, you guys know Dynamics 365 Business Central has its own workflow concept. However, its workflows are more geared towards approvals. They are not as much geared towards steps within a process. So as you can see here, I might indeed have somebody who's going to approve new orders before perhaps they move on to picking. But if I have Dynamics 365 alone, it may be a little bit difficult for me to quickly understand exactly which documents are sitting waiting to be picked in the warehouse. With Distribution Cloud, I can set up a queue for those documents and always have an eye on precisely what is waiting to be picked within the warehouse. The other thing I want to point out about the workflow is that it is designed to be very easy to modify. So in the past, our product for Dynamics GP called SalesPad, it also has this concept of workflow, and it is very powerful. But in SalesPad, you might need some specialized training in order to effectively set up your workflow and get it exactly how you want it. If you want to think of it almost in SalesPad, the workflow is sort of set it and forget it. If you guys are familiar with that saying at all, you set up a workflow in a particular way, you tend to leave it that way. With Distribution Cloud, we've sort of taken the opportunity with working with a new ERP system, Dynamics 365. We wanted to take that opportunity to make the workflow easier and more approachable when you want to change it. Because of course we understand that you might have certain processes in place as a distributor, but the processes that you have in place today may not work 6 months from now, or you may identify areas for improvement 6 months from now. So for example, in my system, orders go from new order, then I verify the details, then they might go to one final review, and then they go to picking, shipping, create invoice, etc. Now, maybe for most of my orders, that's okay, but I may have situations where for perhaps a particular customer, or maybe some particular criteria on the order, I'm not so excited for those special orders to have to go through so many steps before they hit the warehouse. Instead, what I would like to do is maybe have those orders skip a few steps, and we can set that up really quickly. So if you look in new order, I have sometimes in the customer PO, I will add rush to the end of it. I would like to set up a rule where if the customer PO number contains rush, I want to skip details and review, and I want to send them to rush picking, which is a new queue that I've already set up. In order to create that in my workflow, I can go to the top of the screen, go to workflows, and then of course, we're going to be modifying the order workflow, so that's what I'll choose. And then here are all of the queues that we were looking at in mission control, all the queues that exist in my workflow. New order, if I click this pencil to edit it, you can see that every queue has a primary path. That is where documents are always going to go, provided that we don't have any alternate paths set up. And of course, I don't yet for these. Let's go turn that on. Now I can say, yes, normally new orders are going to go to order details, but I need to allow for an exception. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and choose a field from the order. And if you guys remember, it's that customer PO number that I'm interested in. Again, I'm going to say if it contains, yes, a fixed value, and then rush. So if the customer PO number contains rush, then instead of moving it to order details, I want to go here and specify a different queue for those documents to go to. And in this case, again, it's going to be rush picking. So I'll simply click it like that. I can continue adding alternative paths as well. So this doesn't mean that everything only either has one way or the other. It's like a road that ends in a T intersection, right? And you can go left or right. That's not true here. This is more like a roundabout. We can have multiple alternative paths based on multiple different criteria. So I might even have another alternative path where perhaps if the margin on the order is below a certain amount, maybe I will send those to a specific queue, and so on and so on. But now that we've set this up, all I have to do is click save, and then apply. I'll get a little pop-up in the corner letting me know that those changes were applied. This is also, just so you guys know, where I can rearrange the order that those cues sit in. So while I'm here, I might also want to put rush picking, since that's a higher priority. I'll move it ahead of pick package, and you'll see they all renumber as needed on the fly. I'll go apply that change too. There we go. And now if I go back to mission control, if I choose this order that has rush in the PO number, my workflow button intelligently will tell me that because that rule is true, we're going to move this to rush picking. If on the other hand, I go to maybe this one where there is no rush in that PO number, it will intelligently tell me that that instead is going to go to order details because it didn't match any of the alternate paths that I had set up in my workflow. So again, the workflow in Distribution Cloud is not just meant to be powerful in that it allows you to exactly set up your particular processes within the application, but it is also extraordinarily easy to modify that workflow when you find opportunities for improvement, which we really hope that you do. We want this to be a living thing, just like how your company is a living thing. It's growing and it's changing and it's evolving. We want this to be able to grow, change, and evolve alongside of that. Let's go hop over and look at customers. Customers is where I can quickly locate a customer within my system. Of course, in my case, I have a relatively small group of customers, but I can search by their name, their number, by a phone number. Just like the other screen, I can also choose exactly what data I'm viewing for this list for myself. So maybe in my case, it's helpful for me to also see customer email addresses. And maybe I'll move that up right after the primary contact. If I apply that, I'll immediately see that change on my screen. Now, of course, I can also see for customers if there are any open orders, what the status is of each customer, and then also some balance information, which can be extremely helpful to see. So in this case, I can see that Tray Research, they do have a balance due. If I click in there, if they haven't paid me yet, I can also quickly put them on hold until we get that payment. If I drill into this customer, ADatum, again, I can see all of my customer properties right here on the side of the screen. I can see their primary address. And then I can see all of the open documents that I have for ADatum, along with exactly which workflow queue each of those documents is sitting in. If I expand any of these, I can then also see exactly what products are on each of these open documents. Going to products gives me a quick view of exactly what products I've been selling to this customer. And in my case, I might want to go ahead and actually sort this by quantity sold. There. Now I can see very quickly, guess section 1, it's obviously the most popular item for ADatum. And then if I go and expand that, I can see exactly which documents we've had those sold on. Right from here, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and start a new order for this customer, perhaps for that popular item if they need to order some more. All documents is simply going to show me, again, all of the documents that exist in my system for this particular customer. Contacts, this is where I have the ability to either look up or add new contacts for this customer. So perhaps new people, perhaps new addresses can be added here. And then about. About simply gives me the ability to adjust additional information about ADatum. So for example, if I want to change their sales representative from Jim to, say, Helena, I can make that change. Of course, Helena doesn't have a photo, which is perfectly fine, but I can quickly access information about exactly what documents are related to this customer, exactly what products they've been purchasing. And I also sort of have a central place where I can view contact information for this customer. If at any point I need to go from Distribution Cloud to Business Central to see additional information about something, we have this pop-out icon. You simply click it, and it's going to open the associated record in Business Central. It doesn't matter whether it's in this case, where it's a customer that I've opened up, whether it's an order, whether it's an item, anything from Distribution Cloud where you have this icon, you will be able to view in Business Central. The same for these orders in the list. We can view those in Business Central if we need to. We do also provide a product listing. This simply gives me a way to quickly see exactly what items exist in my item master in Business Central. And I can quickly see too whether those items are in stock or out of stock, along with the associated quantity that is in stock and my standard cost. For any of these items, again, I can quickly jump to Business Central if I need to say, update the item picture or update some information about the item. One thing I want to point out too about moving between Distribution Cloud and Business Central, I think that we all know that in Business Central, sometimes it can be easy to get several cards deep in Business Central, where we have to start hitting that back button multiple times to get back to where we were. Whenever you open something from Distribution Cloud to view or edit then in Business Central, we open those in a new tab. That way, we don't sort of pile all those cards on top of each other and force you to have to keep hitting that back button. This way you can have everything in multiple tabs, and of course, if need be, use both of your monitors to sort of view that information side by side if you would need to. These workflow queues, I sort of already explained that these are a little different to the kind of workflow that we have in Business Central, which again, in Business Central is more keyed towards approvals. The thing that is important though, is that we are fully integrated with Dynamics 365. So if I have someone who is a Business Central user, and say they go and they pull up their list of sales orders, right here, they are able to see the current workflow queue from Cavallo. So regardless of which application I'm in, I could be, for example, a Dynamics 365 Business Central user. Maybe I spend all of my time in this application and I never use Distribution Cloud. Even so, I can see exactly where documents are sitting in Distribution Cloud. And of course, if need be, if I open a document right from here, I'm able to move documents to different queues within Distribution Cloud as well. So whichever side of the fence you're on, you could be a user, say for example, sales manager, a sales rep, a customer service manager, customer service representative. You might spend all of your time in Distribution Cloud, but the things that you are doing in Distribution Cloud will always be synced back to Dynamics 365 Business Central. There won't be an information gap between those two applications ever. So I know that's a relatively short demo. One other thing I would like to talk about is we've already discussed that this is a new product, really. We have a few customers who are using it, but it's only been live for a couple months. there are things that we plan to add in very short order. We have an aggressive development roadmap for Distribution Cloud to bring additional functionality to it. We really felt that in this first launch of the application, by far the most critical things to have are easy access to customer data and the workflow. Through the first quarter of 2022, we plan to add some additional features. One of those being a product card. So you see that in Distribution Cloud, I have a list of my inventory and I can see basic overview information about those inventory items. So were they in stock or out of stock? How many do I have? What is my cost? In the first quarter of 2022, we want to build out that functionality so that you will have less need to transition to Dynamics 365 Business Central if, for example, you need to see inventory levels for different locations that you might have set up in Business Central, or if you need to make a modification to an item. We want you to be able to do that in Distribution Cloud. That's going to be one of the first things we're working on next year. Another extremely important feature that we're going to be adding in the first quarter of next year is account management. So the ability to set different access levels for different users within Distribution Cloud. And then business rules. So we would like to, in addition to our workflow, where again, we are taking transactions through a representation of our business processes, we also want to add the ability to do approvals. That will be coming Q1 of 2022 as well. We do have a plan to make some improvements to document search. One of the most critical is if you go here in Mission Control, and then if I open this document that's sitting in my ship queue, I can see here the related shipment for this document. And again, if I click that hyperlink, yes, it will open in Business Central. What we would like to do too, though, is give you the ability to search by related document. So if perhaps my warehouse manager gave me the shipment 102215, I could quickly find here what order that document is related to. We also plan to add functionality around emailing. Currently, in Distribution Cloud, if I go open an order, I do have the ability here to generate a shipment or an invoice from an order. If I'm on a quote, I have the ability to generate, of course, an order if the customer has accepted it. But currently, I have the ability to print. So just like this, of course. And this is the same report that I have set up in Dynamics 365. What we would like to add is also the ability to email. And not just manually email, but also do it through workflow. So once a document gets to a certain queue in my workflow, trigger perhaps an email to the customer to let them know that their order is on the way. Finally, we will be adding kits and an audit. An audit is especially important to us. This is kind of one that's near and dear to our hearts. We would like to have the ability to show exactly who changed what on any one document, sort of to eliminate some of that finger pointing that can happen when we see a document with a price that might be different than what we had expected. We can see who changed that. Finally, a workbench. That's a way to work with multiple orders at the same time. And then the ability to add notes throughout the application, as well as reminders. So that's an overview of our Distribution Cloud product. Again, we have probably more so than we ever had in the past, an aggressive schedule for adding functionality to this application to make it not only more functional, but also, of course, easier, and to give you less need to step out to Business Central. for certain tasks. We'd like to give people like those customer service folks, the folks in sales, folks in management, we would like to give them more opportunities to only have to use one application at a time. So that's my demo of our new product.
Thank you, Nathan, for the presentation and the demo. If you have any questions, you can write it down on the Q&A box or on the chat, so we can answer before the workshop ends. And if you have any further questions, Nathan, if you can give maybe your email, or you can contact your Optimus team member.
Absolutely. So if you have any follow-up questions, and we hope that you do, we really want your feedback on this product. We want to know any ideas you have for improving it. We want to answer any questions that you have as well. The correct contact to send those questions to would be Travis Reinhackle. And then, of course, I see we have a question from Sabia. Is Cavallo an add-on to Business Central or purchased separately? Yes, it is something that you would purchase separately from Business Central. You would purchase it from Cavallo. And then, Macarena, would it help to put Travis's email into the chat for this? Oh, I see he did. You're rock star. Thank you, Travis. You're so fast.
Yeah, you just did.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect.